What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pleeka. Today we're going to be discussing HBO's docuseries, The Case Against Adnan Syed.
Good job.
Look at that. Hot diggity dog shit. It's hot day. I haven't done that in a minute.
Yeah. Hey, what did you guys think about it?
I thought it was okay.
I thought you guys might think it was really slow because...
Well, it's a documentary.
Right. But, see, like, I listened to the Serial podcast. I was
You
looking,
and apparently 175 million other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, captivated. So I assumed that it would be... like you guys would say it was a lot slower than what I thought it was because you're just kind of getting your feet wet.
Yeah,
Like,
they set up the relationship, they set up the kid, like they're introducing all the characters basically in a way.
Yeah, you don't really know too much that's going on.
That's why I listened to the first episode of Serial while we were at the gym waiting to come here and do this.
I downloaded it
because I wanted to know a little more before talking about this.
Absolutely.
And I liked the first episode of Serial more than documentary, but I did like the documentary.
I didn't dislike anything. I'm not sure that I would. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be watching it. Probably, maybe it was interesting, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
And watching the first episode, I was like, it's all right.
And like the thing about this is okay. So like, I've had a fear like my entire life of basically being in his situation. Of like being in prison, accused of doing something that I didn't. Not to say that he didn't do it, but that's obviously why the show's going on because there's so many people that think that he might not have done it, or he didn't do it, or whatever. But
what do you think? Do you think he did it?
I mean, because like I said, I don't think he did it.
I feel like a lot of people. Did you watch the video saying of all like the celebrities talking about the show?
I did.
A lot of them didn't think he did it.
A few of them did,
but a few of them said he was involved, and some of them, which I found interesting, that made me really want to listen to it and watch more.
I watched a lot of videos on it, and I mean, they show you those snippets in the the first 5-10 minutes of this episode, and they have the fucking Nancy Grace talking to the guy who does like the live PD, and he's like, I think he probably did it, but there's not enough evidence, in my opinion, to convict. And that's what seems to be the big sticking point, is that it's like reasonable doubt.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of evidence either way to say he didn't do it or to say he did it.
And it's like the cops just went with it and said, yeah, this is our guy. Like, obviously a lot has changed since 1999, technology-wise, and, phones, internet. And
the thing
like
is,
that.
in this first episode, knowing what I know about it, there was really they didn't say anything about evidence against him.
No,
they did at the very end. They said that that they would have focused on her other boyfriend too, but the other boyfriend didn't get a call. Someone didn't call the police and talk about the other boyfriend to them.
Yeah, but
that was like the only thing we got.
Yeah, but that was an accusation. That's not evidence. That's just someone saying, "Hey, I accusing you." You know what I mean?
And it seems like they just ran with that. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people say that they just like, oh, someone called. There must be some truth to it. We're just gonna run with it because we don't really have any suspects.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The cop did say you don't need 100% to arrest. You need 100% to convict.
Yeah,
which is
correct.
true.
And I don't think they have 100% to convict.
What makes me interested, like, what else are they gonna show and talk about in the rest of the documentary? There's 3 more parts to this.
Yeah,
and it doesn't seem like they don't find a lot of evidence. It doesn't seem like they find stuff to clear him or say he did it. So I was wondering, like, what else is they gonna show on there?
I don't know.
See, because like all this is like a lot. Like obviously with the podcast, you don't get pictures and all that shit. So,
yeah.
Like all of that's new to me, which is kind of cool because when I listened to this 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, it's just all you make it up in your head.
Yeah, and that's like
cool
you looked it up and did
like,
information, found your own information.
And I did because obviously, and if you guys listen to the podcast and once the more episodes of this show comes on, like Adnan is like he's really good at talking. Like he almost
I got that from just because I have like 10 minutes left of the first episode, and he seems like if he did like do it, he would be good. He'd be a good person like to talk out of maybe getting caught, even though he still is in jail. Like he did seem like a good talker, just from the little bit I listened to.
And the people who are not on his side usually say that is that he's just like a good talker, like a smooth talker, like he's trying to just play the innocent card, and he's good at talking. But the thing, and I obviously I don't think this person did it, but at first listening to the podcast and then watching this episode, the guy who found the body.
Yeah, that was weird. I liked when they asked the police officer that, and then he was like, like he gave a look like, yeah, he might have did it, but like there's no evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, and he could have, and that's the crazy thing, like. Because, like, what are the odds? Oh, yeah, I drove home, I got a beer, opened the beer, I'm drinking the beer, back to work. Oh, and just so by happen chance, I had to stop and take a leak.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get out of the truck. I walk into the woods, 50 feet so no one can see me. And, oh, by the way, I was getting ready to piss, and I saw some hair.
Like, yeah, it seemed very coincidental.
But then again, on the other hand, if you killed her, why would you tell him where the body is?
No, I get that.
Well, because I don't know, maybe something's wrong with him, and you want to go back to the crime scene, and then he's like, well, maybe if I call it in now, they'll think I won't did it because I'm calling it in, blah blah.
Maybe. Just seems like you should just stay.
I mean, the guy already seemed like a weirdo.
Maybe he felt guilty or something.
Could be that as well.
He didn't look like he felt guilty.
Well, he looked like a dumbass because and that's the thing. Like, the prosecutor or whatever, the defending attorney, whatever, was like, "Oh, do you remember the day?" And he's like, "I don't fucking remember that day." And she's like, "You don't remember the day when you found a dead body?" Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, well, yeah, of course I remember that. If you'd have told me that."
He's like, "If you'd have been specific," I was like, "Wow, this guy kind of seems like a dick."
No, he seemed more like a dick than a dumbass. Yeah.
But that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why, to me, it's like we didn't really see or hear anything from Jay, Adnan's like best friend. Basically.
That was I listened to the podcast. I was really surprised that they didn't put that in the first episode of the documentary.
They kind of teased it.
They teased it at the very end.
They teased it, but it didn't mean anything to me because I don't know who that guy is. Except they said he looked like Dennis Rodman.
That's like the first thing they play in the podcast, and like right off the bat, it makes you go like, oh, like thinking about did the guy do it or not?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It seemed very biased that he didn't do it the first episode. Very biased.
I think that's the only reason they're making the show is because they feel that he didn't do it.
See, and that's what I liked about the podcast versus this is like I agree with you. It seemed a little biased, but then in it, the girl will talk to like his family or like the friends that are in the same show, and she'll be like, "Yeah, they got this wrong. They're like they fudged this evidence or they embellished a little bit here, and maybe he did do it." Like she kind of sees it either way, and she seemed a lot more likable than like them just interviewing people and them talking.
That's interesting.
I did think it was weird, too, in the documentary. You pointed this out like 7 times. That girl that said she had a photographic memory. And then every time they ask her about something, she's like, yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Or I remember this much. And then once it got to this point,
like when she said
I forgot.
She had a relationship with that Don guy.
Yeah.
And he obviously, to me, is a big question. Whatever. Now
she literally
they made him look like a weirdo in the documentary. I don't know anything else about him.
She said, I remember her up on the stairs wearing a white sweater. Then they show the dirty sweater.
Yeah.
And I remember that because I have a photo.
Are you talking about the black girl or the white girl?
The black girl, the one with the photographic memory.
Okay. She said it, and she goes,
photographic memory.
I remember that because I have a photographic memory. The next time they talked to her, she goes, yeah, I can't remember that. And then the next time they talked to her, she said she blacked out and couldn't remember it. And I was like...
Yeah, because that's when they were talking about that Don guy wanted to have sex with her or whatever.
Yeah, but the other time it was just something...
Wasn't going to happen, and she's like, honestly, I don't even remember how that played out. Like, my mind just blacked out.
To me,
I thought the same thing. I'm going, how can you have a photographic memory and just not remember that? Like,
it seemed like the second time.
I get that your mind traumatic, like
It seemed like specific forgetting things.
Yeah.
Like I think she was saying too much, and she was like, you know what? Actually, I told him we weren't gonna bang. Like maybe they did do something.
She also
I don't know.
Like he really wanted to have sex with me, and I was
she was like kind of like proud of it.
Like weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very odd.
Maybe it was her. Maybe she did it.
Maybe so. After because you listened to the whole podcast, do you have anybody that you think did it?
Because that's the key.
I would say Jay and Don would be my 2 biggest suspects.
I was gonna say Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, because they'd probably go to jail, but if they were in it.
But like, so they kept showing Don the pictures.
Yeah, they wanted us to think he was involved big time from this.
Well, that was the funny thing is like it's like, okay, this happened in 1999, and they start talking to these people, and I'm like, oh, these must be the teachers, and then they're like, yeah, I was a student. I was a student
They look
there.
old as shit.
Yeah. They're like, I was like, oh yeah, that was fucking 20 years ago. So all these people are old now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean, which makes you wonder how much do they actually remember this?
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot from high school. I'll give you that. I graduated in 2002.
I don't remember a lot that happened last night.
Wow.
Well, that's a different story. It's White Walker right there.
Yeah. Winter's coming.
But I don't know. Like I said, it's always been a fear of mine that I would be arrested and put in prison.
And I can see that.
Luckily, you're white.
Yeah, that does probably play in your part.
Still, it happens.
But I see what you're saying there. Like if I was the guy that found the body in there, I would second guess reporting it because I'd be like, oh, I'm probably gonna get blamed for this fucking body. So should I call the police?
Really? See, like
I would totally second guess it and think that I might get. Like I probably would eventually call because I'd feel bad if I didn't. But I would be like worried that I'm gonna get blamed for it.
That thought never's entered my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you don't hear it all the time, but you do hear those stories like, oh, man was in prison for 22 plus years. Like that's like it's not like you get a press rewind and like you don't get those years back. Like
unless you get struck by lightning and then you just run back.
Oh my god. It's not.
They give you a bunch of money, but I mean, what's a bunch of money if you're 65 years old and you're on your damn deathbed?
They'll just have an alibi.
Yeah, we'll lie for you.
It's a lot easier now. You can just text and be like, look, I was here.
It's true. It's easier to prove where you've been now than
to prove where you haven't been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else?
No, absolutely. And that comes into play is that that was he got denied for a new trial 3 days ago.
Oh, spoilers.
Yeah.
Getting on me about Game of
Thrones. That's gonna be at the end of part 4.
I already hated Making a Murderer because I knew what the ending was.
I never finished Making a Murderer because of that. I was like, oh, well, he's nothing new is gonna come of this. So what's the point of watching it? But for this is my first time watching it, so it's interesting to me regardless.
Yeah.
Even though this got denied, he said that it doesn't matter. He will continue to push forward and try.
I mean, what else does he got to do though?
Free himself.
He can read a book.
He's probably read the Bible. He's probably read the dictionary.
I doubt he read the Bible. Isn't he Muslim?
Yeah, he could have read. What do they call that? The Quran? They read the Quran, I believe. Quran.
He's got a fact check behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Fact check. Thanks, fact check.
It sounds like he called her a fat chick.
Wow.
Thanks, fat chick.
No, I said fact check.
Yeah. When you say it fast,
it doesn't. Like I said fat chick. I didn't say that.
No, he's in trouble.
I
obviously didn't say that.
We got some trouble.
All right. So, Hess, what else happened in the documentary?
I mean, that's pretty much sums up everything. I mean, it's all so quick hitting. It was interesting. I thought it was interesting the way they kind of animated their relationship.
I thought that was an interesting choice too, because they didn't have any like pictures or videos of her, so they did that.
Together, yeah.
I also found it kind of creepy that they hired a voice actress to say her
a little bit
to read her diary. I thought that was a little creepy.
Yeah.
I get it. How else are you gonna say it? But after a while, it just got really creepy to me.
I wonder with stuff like this, does the family have her family have to give approval for that? Or
yeah.
How does that work?
I would assume so. Yeah.
Okay.
I also would think I thought it was weird too. When she was missing for a couple days, and then the grandma or whatever went and got her diary and started reading it and all that.
Yeah.
All the stuff with the diary got creepy to me, and she seemed to benefit.
Well, the fact that his number was in there, they didn't know who it was.
It was weird too that his number was above. It said Dawn a million times, and then it had his number there.
Yeah.
So one question I wanted to ask you guys too. Hess might know the answer to this if they go further in the podcast with it.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think it was the brother that called in and said that? Because they said it was like a 17 to 18-year-old Korean boy or whatever. Kind of described the brother.
It did sound like.
And it seemed like when the brother was on the defense or whatever, he pointed him out. It seemed like it was that.
Yeah.
Being that I didn't see any other 13 to 19-year-old Korean kids. Yeah, I thought it was.
Did you think so too?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you know the answer?
Maybe.
That's a yes. You're not a good liar. I can see it through your poker face.
Yeah, but it kind of sucked. I wish they would have just released all 4 episodes.
It's not Netflix.
Yeah, that's the bump. They did that with Leaving Neverland, though. You think they would have done something similar with this? Hey, it's gonna be on every week on here.
I think it's just filling a spot.
But it is. It's pretty like good that they're doing this right between Game of Thrones, like perfect timing.
Yeah.
And the thing I like too is that it's like an hour and 10 minutes. Like they're not.
It went by fast.
Yeah, it did go by fast. It didn't feel like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what else they show in it. I'm hoping in the second episode we get a lot more information because I got more listening to an hour of the podcast than I did from the documentary.
Yeah, I mean it's hard because they really went into their relationship and
I think they went a bit too much in the relationship.
I don't know.
I think that's the thing, though. I think they're trying to set that up that way. I think they're trying to say, like, look, like, this girl loved him, like he loved her.
Mm-hmm. Which I guess could play more into she trusted him so much that maybe he strangled her.
Yeah, I mean, there's been many a person who loved each other that killed each other, so...
Yeah.
That's what they said. They said that in the documentary, that usually strangulation is someone who, they're close to them.
Yeah.
But if I were to kill someone, I would probably strangle him.
Wow, we got that on record now,
yeah.
so... He literally said about 10 minutes ago he's afraid he's going to get framed for a crime, and then he's like, if I murdered someone, I'd probably strangle them too. Next thing you know, like a week from now, Abby's going to get strangled, and he's going to go, dude, I didn't do it.
It totally wouldn't be the way you would kill someone, because you have to, like, and then it would have to be someone you know.
Why is that?
Well, you can just walk up to someone on the street and grab someone. They're not going to let you grab them.
I'm Fat Ninja. Probably just cut that part out, yeah.
Mark it. If Abby ever shows up missing, we'll be like, this motherfucker right
here. Just cut it and save it. Put it on a computer. And if someone that
I'll put it under a folder called Blackmailing Hess. It'll be that and then secret clips that Abby sends us, all in that folder. Any last things you guys want to say about the documentary?
Not about the documentary. I do have something else to hit on.
What do you want to hit on? Me?
No.
Jesus. I hope the documentary gets better.
I didn't hate this one, but I did enjoy the podcast more.
I mean, you kind of like, you're like, oh, but I was obsessed with this and blah, blah.
I was with the podcast. I was. That's why I want you to go. That's why I want you guys to listen to it. Like when you go on your walks and stuff or whatever. Like you said you listen to podcasts a lot of times. Like I feel like you would, and I think I like this more because I listened to the podcast.
I can see that. I can see knowing. So, did you learn anything new from this that you didn't already know?
Not really.
And don't you? I don't mean to interrupt, but don't you think that they put this out for people who listen to the podcast? Like, if 175 million people listen to the podcast,
me and you are in the minority now.
For sure. Yeah. Okay,
absolutely.
that's what I think.
What were you about to say before?
Did you see the runtime for the first 2 episodes of the final season for Game of Thrones?
54 minutes.
Yeah, 54 minutes each one.
People were fucking pissed on Twitter.
I saw it. Well, most of the episodes are normal length, and then the last 2 are like 120 minutes.
Which is fine.
Yeah, I just want...
That's kind of what they said.
I wanted them all to be long.
They kind of said that. They kind of said that they weren't all going to be long.
It was just rumors before that they were going to be long.
Yeah.
HBO never said anything until like a week ago because everyone's like, oh, they're movie length, and they're like, yeah, not really. They're not really that long.
And people.
Could you imagine though?
People are gonna be mad about whatever happens.
There's gonna be about 1 million people that hate the ending of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, for sure.
You saw what Brianna Tart said, right? I don't know her real name, but
yeah, you tagged us on Facebook.
Okay, I didn't know if you guys.
Oh yeah, people are gonna need therapy after the end.
I didn't read the article. I just liked your post because I was at work and I don't care what Brianna Tart says.
Well, she just said everybody. Yeah. Everyone's gonna need therapy.
I hope she dies, so I won't need therapy for that.
That's pretty fucked up.
I wanted her to die in Star Wars, and I got my wish. Kinda.
Did she though?
I don't know.
I don't think she died.
People just fall sometimes.
Yeah. Do you wanna send us out of here?
Well, hopefully you enjoyed. What is so goddamn funny?
You motherfucker.
Why?
I don't know.
It was kind of like I was Ford and he's Bernard, and I was like, you gonna send us out, and he's like, well. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It turned into like a robot there.
Yeah.
If you're watching along with us or anything like that, feel free to comment. Would be cool. Like the video, subscribe, rate, review, do all that good stuff. It's on obviously Pleeka where you're watching this right now on YouTube. I believe Jerome will probably throw this on Apple, iTunes, Google Play, all the other places where you can listen to podcasts. Well, I think that's it, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys later.
Thanks, Fact Check.